What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over X-Men comics as we work our way up to the Extinction Agenda, the next crossover that we are going to talk about. But first, we gotta jump back over to some Wolverine and cover a graphic novel known as Wolverine, Reign of Terra. Now, this was written by Peter David. We also got some Andy Kubert in here as well. This is a very interesting book right here, guys, because it's Wolverine traveling to an alternate universe to go up against wizards, going up against magic, but a magical Magneto. And you see what I mean as we go through today's video. Now, the opening pages of this book does a really good job into bringing you in and want to know what exactly is going on. And so we actually picked up with the New Mutants. Now, around this time in X-Men comics, the New Mutants were being led by Cable. Now, we don't know much about Cable, but he is their teacher. But we see that the New Mutants and Cable had to tie down and lock up Rahne Sinclair, better known as Wolfsbane. And the reason why? Because she's not acting like herself. She's out there screaming, saying that she is a princess. Where's her knights? Where's her mages? Where's her castle? And for our heroes, they're kind of wondering, what are you talking about? Like, you're no princess, you have no castle, your dad is not like you, and matter of fact, we're not your knights nor your mages. What are you talking about? But she says, no, you guys are crazy, you guys had kidnapped me, what in the world is going on? And they have no choice but to go ahead and walk away and close the door to keep her inside of there until she is able to calm down. But you have our heroes wondering, what is she talking about? What is wrong with her mind? But then we jump over to another character and we pick up with a guy that looks just like Cable, but is not Cable. He's a regular mage apparently. And currently he's at the lake just minding his business until he realized some great beast has arrived behind him. And that great beast is no other than Wolverine. Now, for our mage, he does try his best to fight against Wolverine, but we can see that our good old boy Logan is right now in a berserker rage. He is going crazy, trying to kill off this mage that looks just like Cable. Now, Wolverine is able to get a few hits in. When I say hits, I mean some good old stabs in on the mage. But then the mage is able to release his rod, and his rod is a character that looks like Warlock that had involved in some kind of big, huge creature to battle against Wolverine. But Logan, once again, is able to take care of that creature as well. But now we have to jump over to a castle where we actually pick up with a princess. And this is Princess Rahne. Not Rahne Sinclair, just Princess Rahne. But she does look like our Rahne Sinclair back in the main Marvel universe. And matter of fact, we're going to see other characters appear in this book that look very similar to other characters in the main Marvel universe. But this is the princess of the land better known as Gisham. But now we are able to begin to learn more about the kingdom, where we actually pick up with the people of the kingdom. Now, some of the people, they really do love the princess, but some people, they feel sorry for her because they know that on her 16th birthday, she is supposed to die. You see, there is a prophecy that said on her 16th birthday, the princess will be killed off by some kind of beast. Now, like I said earlier though, some of the people of the kingdom, they love the princess. And one of them is a guy known as Doug. Now, Doug is really important for multiple reasons. The first is that he is the counterpart to Doug Ramsey in the main Marvel universe, better known as Cypher, who had died back in Fall of the Mutants. who was actually very close to Wolfsbane. Matter of fact, it seemed like those two characters might get together, but unfortunately, he had died. And so in this reality, Doug is a regular person who's in love with the princess and really hopes that one day he'll be able to marry her. Now, there is another reason why he's so important, but that comes down the road. But now we are able to learn about more people in this reality. So for example, we kind of find out that for Princess Rahne, she has a maid. That maid's name is, well, Tabby. Now back in the main Marvel universe, Tabby is Boom Boom. But in this reality, she is just a maid who is always there to help out the princess. Now, when it comes to Tabby, she is very concerned for Princess Rahne because again, that prophecy saying that she is going to die. Now, while you have the two characters talking to one another, somebody else walks into the room. And this guy, his name is Richard. Now, when it comes to Richard, he is the counterpart to Richter back in the main Marvel universe, another close friend to Wolfsbane. Now, when she looks at Richter, for a quick second, he looks like Richter back in the main Marvel universe, but then he changes back to his old knight self again. And she's very confused on why, when she had looked at Richter, that he had changed. Either way, you have the two characters saying that they're going to do their best to protect her. But now we have to jump over to Samuel. Now, when it comes to Samuel, he is actually this reality's version of Cannonball. And so when it comes to Samuel, he is another knight who's supposed to protect the princess. But we see him just riding his horse in the outside part of the kingdom, where he does find the staff that belonged to the mage earlier that looked like Cable, that was supposedly killed off by Wolverine, the great beast. And then you have Samuel turn around and he's confronted by the great beast. And you have the two characters begin to fight against one another, leaving us wondering who is going to win. But now we jump over to the main Marvel universe, where we still see Rahne Sinclair still calling out for help. She's still hoping that somebody, one of her knights or her maid, will be able to save her from the New Mutants and Cable. And you have our heroes wondering what is wrong with their friend and how can they help their friend out. But now we have to jump back over to the princess. Now, when it comes to the princess, she's with her father. Now, when it comes to her father, this man is on the verge of death, like he is about to die very soon, but he wants to make sure that his daughter does survive past her 16th birthday. And so he is trying his best to just hold on until it actually passes. Now, earlier we have met two knights and a maid that were assigned to the princess. Well, there is a third knight, and that third knight, his name is Robert. Now, of course, he is this reality's counterpart to Sunspot back in the main Marvel universe. Now, when it comes to all three knights, they do have powers, but it's not like, okay, they are mutants and that's why they have powers. Instead, they were given different artifacts that allow them to have powers to use to protect the princess. Now, you then have Samuel appear. Now, when he appears, he tells the rest of the group that he had just barely survived fighting against the Great Beast, which means the Great Beast is on his way here right now to most likely kill off the princess. And so it's him saying, we got to get ready. Now, when it comes to the princess' father, the king, he is very concerned and he wants to have one last conversation with his daughter. But in the middle of that conversation, you have the princess kind of freak out. And she says, who are you? You are not my father. Who are these other people around me? And then right after she says that, the king falls down. He's about to die. But before he does die, the princess begins to act normal again and begins to freak out because her dad is dying. And then he does die. But now it's time for us to be introduced to the bad guy of the book, and that would be Magnus. Now, when it comes to Magnus, he is this reality's version of Magneto. Now, when it comes to Magnus, he was the one who brought Wolverine over to this reality. And here is the reason why. So he wants to use Wolverine to kill off the princess, because once she is gone and so is her father, then Magnus will be able to tap into the energy of the land. You see, when it comes to their castle, it was built on top of a magical land. And so for Magnus, he wants to tap into that energy. If he does that, then he'll become really powerful. And so that is why he brought Wolverine over here to kill off the princess. But the next page, we do see both Rahne Sinclair's mourning the death of the king. Now we jump over to the main Marvel universe, where we have Rahne Sinclair, who believes she's the princess in her cell, knowing that her father has passed on. But back in the other reality, Princess Rahne is mourning the death of her father, but very upset that she is not allowed to leave the castle to attend his funeral. Because again, they gotta make sure that she is protected until after her 16th birthday. Now earlier, we were left to believe the mage, who looks just like Cable, was killed off by Wolverine, is actually still alive. And now, he's going to try his best to get back over to the castle to save the princess. But now you have the entire kingdom mourning the death of their king. Now, while doing that, you have Doug, one of the regular people of the kingdom, point up to the tower of the princess, knowing that she is not allowed to leave her castle to attend the funeral for her father. Now, when it comes to the princess, she turns around and she punches the maid right in the face. Now remember, her maid's name is Tabby, and Tabby is this reality's version of Boom Boom. And so she picks up her maid and puts the maid on her bed. But while doing that, the maid begins to change in front of her eyes into Boom Boom. And then you have the princess begin to think like she is Rahne Sinclair, like she actually knows Boom Boom. And she's wondering, where is she? Why is she here? What in the world is going on? But then she turns back into the princess. Now, when it comes to the princess, her main goal is to use the maid as a way to trick anybody who may come in here and check on her, so that she's able to sneak out the tower to go to her father's funeral. Now, for Wolverine, we know that he's now on the hunt by seeing him passing by the funeral. And while you have everybody there at the service, Wolverine is just walking right by and getting closer and closer to the princess. Now, back at the castle, back in the princess tower, you have Samuel walk back to the room to realize that the princess is gone. That instead, it was actually, well, Tabby, the maid. And so you had Tabby say the princess has left the castle. We have to find her right now before the beast gets to her, because if it does, it is going to kill her. Now, when it comes to Wolverine, he does find the princess, and it does seem like at first that she is going to die right here, right now, in front of her entire kingdom. But luckily for her, the three knights had arrived just in time to save her butt. Now, the three knights, they tried their best to fight against Wolverine. But when it comes to Logan, he's not somebody you can take down so easily. This is somebody who is going to be an actual challenge for you. And so we get a few pages of this battle of just Logan being able to go toe-to-toe with the three knights who are there to protect the princess. But throughout the entire battle, you have Magnus trying to tell Wolverine what to do, to keep pushing, but to only focus on the princess. Like, if you have to, go ahead, cut the knights, but get to the princess. She is your main target. Now, in the middle of the battle, you had Doug appear. Not a knight, just a random guy who's trying to get with the princess. But he does see that she is in danger. And so he goes out of his way to grab her and to get her far away from the battle. But Wolverine is on their trail. He is literally catching up very quickly. But then the princess turns into, well, a wolf. And remember, back in the main Marvel universe, well, Wolfsbane's ability is to turn into a wolf. And so right now, we're seeing the princess being able to change into a wolf and fight back against Wolverine. Now, she is able to do enough damage to make Logan stop just for a moment, but long enough for Doug to get the princess back into the kingdom and then have the entire kingdom get ready for Logan. But this is Wolverine, so their defenses are not really that great when it comes to stopping someone like Wolverine, who was able to get through all the different crocodiles or alligators and actually be able to take on the guards who are watching the outside area of the kingdom. And so Wolverine is now inside the kingdom to continue his hunt for the princess. Now, you do have Wolverine being able to find the princess once again, except you have the princess once again change into a wolf form, kind of like Wolfsbane does back in the main Marvel universe. Now, when you have the two characters battling against each other, once again, you have the princess beginning to talk like she is actually Rahne Sinclair, like she actually knows Wolverine very well. And she keeps saying, this is not going to stop him at all. This is somebody who cannot be easily stopped. But at the same time, I do not belong here. Now, luckily for the princess, she has her maid nearby. And the maid is able to throw a bunch of liquor bottles at Wolverine and then set him on fire, hoping to kill him off or at least buy them some time. But the princess, who's now talking like the Rahne Sinclair of our universe, she knows that Wolverine is only going to come back for another round. But this is where you had the story begin to wrap up very quickly, because you didn't have Magnus appear. Now, when it comes to Magnus, he does inform us that the magical protection around the kingdom that kept him out was lowered. And so he was able to get in very easily. And so now his goal is to tap into the energy of the land, except the mage appears, the one that looks like Cable, and he is able to shoot an arrow right in the chest of Magnus. Now you would think, okay, the day is saved. Nope, you're wrong, because you have Magnus say, dude, it is going to take a whole lot more than one single arrow to take me down, especially with the idea that I don't have a heart when you hit it, so technically I'm good. And so then you have Magnus being able to tap into the energy of the land to grow in size. And when I say he grows in size, I mean this dude is like Giant Man right now. And so it really seems like the end for this kingdom, except now he is no longer controlling Wolverine. And he has no idea that Wolverine is currently, climbing his body to save the kingdom. And so you have Wolverine go inside the man's ear and just start stabbing his brain. And so Wolverine is able to save the kingdom after causing a lot of problems for the kingdom. And so this is where everything is told to us to figure out what exactly was going on here when it came to this story. So you have the mage of this reality said what he did was he took Rahne Sinclair from the main Marvel universe and the princess from this reality and had them switch spots as a way to protect the princess, because he remembered that the princess was supposed to die on her 16th birthday. And so to protect her, he had the two switch spots. And then he brainwashed Rahne Sinclair to make her believe that she was actually the princess. But the problem was his magic had worn off. And so that explained why she began to remember that she's not the princess, that in reality, she's Rahne Sinclair. Now, back in the main Marvel universe, his magic did not work at all. And so when the princess had arrived in that reality, she automatically remembered that she is the princess, that she is not no Rahne Sinclair. And so that is why the New Mutants had no idea what exactly was going on. And so with the Beast now being gone and Magnus being dead, he sends Rahne Sinclair back to her reality and bring the princess back into her reality. And so with Wolfsbane now being back in her own reality, she tries her best to explain everything to her team. But to her team, they really can't believe that what she actually went through until Wolverine appears. And when he appears, he confirms everything that she is saying. And so for the rest of the team, they cannot believe that what she had went through. But let's not forget that the New Mutants had just found out that the X-Men are still alive. And so seeing Logan, they're like, wait a second, that's Logan, which means yes, what she went through is actually real. And on top of that, the X-Men are not dead. Because remember, back in Fall of the Mutants, the X-Men had given up their lives to stop the adversary on live television. And the world believed the X-Men had died that day, not knowing that soon after they had given up their lives, they were brought back to life by Lady Roma. And the X-Men just stick to the shadows and had the world believe that they were dead, until after a while more and more people began to find out that the X-Men were alive. And back in Days of Future Present, Storm told all the rest of the X-Men teams minus Excalibur that, hey, listen, we are alive, but currently we are disbanded, and I'm trying my best to find my team. And so for the New Mutants, this gives them confirmation that the X-Men are alive, including Wolverine. But he does leave and says, yes, what she went through is actually real, or was real. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.